Hey, beautiful soul. Before we jump into the episode, I want to know, did you know that I have a completely free virtual new moon circle called Co-Create every single month? This stemmed out of a constant request for a space or a church that taught so many different spiritual modalities, tools, systems, beliefs, and I didn't have any place to send them. So I created it. In Co-Create, this is the space that I want to bring to you to learn how to create a connection to yourself, your energetics, and the divine in a community that won't make you feel like a weirdo. A space where you can ask any question you want, where we get to dive into so many systems and beliefs and tools, and you get to pick and choose what feels good for you. So you can learn what it means to truly co-create with the universe, God, source, for flow, trust, and surrender, to connect with other women who are spiritually curious in a space that's safe, sacred, and inspirational. It's your space for you to find your people and lean into new spiritual practices to truly co create with the universe or God or source or whoever you feel connected to. You'll gain tools and knowledge to understand what it really means to lean into the universal laws and become magnetic, all while being held by massive feminine energy. I've been hosting these free new moon circles for almost a year now, and it's definitely one of my most sacred spaces, and it's completely free for you every single month. Diana said that she made a promise to herself that she would work on her personal development and growth journey earlier in 2024. So I reached out to her and asked her for a testimonial to share with us. And what she said was Adriana's membership community and Co-Create has accelerated that and more. I have had multiple breakthroughs from finding a new career path, improving my mental health by reducing my anxiety and depression through journaling, meditation, and breath work, improving my physical health, doing walking meditations are my jam, strengthening my marriage and relationships, improving my money mindset, and just setting up a routine that complements my design. I've learned to embrace challenges as a sign of growth. I will continuously do my best to be in harmony with myself, with this world, and the universe. I have never felt so seen, heard, safe, and supported. Her community and Co-Create has helped me connect to my true authentic self, to move with grace and intention, to embrace everyone's uniqueness. And we each have a special gift and are collectively part of this world to show and share it this way. Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing all of your reflections and how Co-Create and my community has changed your life. And now I want to share it with everyone else. The link to register is in the show notes below. Even if you register for 1 month, you will automatically be signed up to be able to join every single month for as long as you're on the list. So you don't have to repeat it every month. You will always get on the list. You will always have the Zoom link available. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Now enjoy the episode. Welcome to the No BS Human Design Podcast. I'm Adriana Keefe, human design coach and motivational speaker. I went through my quarter life crisis in my 20s and had to learn how to navigate through finding what I was meant to be doing with my life. I refused to believe in the culture that said we were all meant to have the same path and boring careers until we retire and die. And along my journey, I found human, a system that reveals your energetic blueprint, showing you where and how to access your body's consciousness and how to live as your true self. Human design changed my life, so I started sharing it with others and changing their lives, but we were all finding the same problem: a lack of resources that explain the system in easy and useful ways. So I created this show where we dive deep into the lessons of the human design system without the BS and the noise you find on the internet. Listen in for lessons in human design, finding your purpose, manifestation and spiritual practices, human design within business, and so much more. We connect with other experts in the human design and spiritual realm in a refreshingly honest way to help you find your way along your spiritual path and live this life with intention. It's time to let go of the societal expectations of being and let yourself find abundance through being uniquely you. Let's get started. Okay, this is going to be a fun one because for the first time ever, we have the woman behind the scenes, behind the show, the woman who literally makes all of this podcast run so fucking smoothly. Here with us. Hello, Casey Barber. Thanks for joining. Why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hello, Adriana. I am Casey Barber. I call myself a storyteller, artist, and creative strategist, but really I am just a 3-5 manifesting generator with emotional authority who likes to do an awful lot of creative things at the same time. So I keep your wheels running behind the scenes with the podcast and all of your Magnetic Rebellion events and fun shenanigans. And on my own side, I run my own newsletter about finding fun, adventure, and creativity in your own life. And I do creative strategy sessions for people who might be stuck. And I am a Notion
I
crazy
wondered if you were going to
person,
drop that. She's a
basically,
Notion expert.
who has been trying to convert someone with no logic channels, aka Adriana, to the world of Notion. And basically, I'm just a blend of logic and chaos at all times.
Which is such an interesting dynamic now that you say it like that. Um, and actually, your astrology, your top three, if you know them.
Yes, and my astrology, I am a Pisces sun, Capricorn moon, and Gemini rising,
Ooh.
which also may explain a lot.
The Capricorn. I was like, she's got to have Capricorn in there.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. So, Casey and I have been working together for, I don't know, 9 months now. It feels like so much longer in like the best
Almost a
way.
year. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it feels so comfortable, which is, I love that you pointed out we're both selective caves environment. So it's not very easy for us to like just let people in. I think we probably both took a little while, but then we're like, ah, you're my people. It's fine.
Yes. When you know, you know.
When you know, it's true love. So I met Casey virtually last summer through another human design group. And that's actually where I went to post that I was looking for an assistant. I've had two previous assistants, one who was a general VA, one who was a podcast editor, and neither time, did I say that? Neither time. That sounded weird. Did I actually hire based on design? At the time, I was like in my head about it, thinking it was a little discriminatory. And what if they weren't like living by design and all of that? So I never hired by design before, but I will say it obviously didn't work out for a reason with the previous assistants. So this time I was like, fuck it. We're going into human design communities first and foremost, people who know about their design at least, not an expert. And I'm going to post specifically who I'm looking for without actually saying design information. So I have the actual post here that I'm going to read out loud. But the goal of this conversation, and Casey, add anything you want to this after, the goal of this conversation is to open your eyes up to hiring in a new perspective. So the energetics of hiring someone, not just their energy and your energy, but like all the energetic leakage that goes in if you are not hiring correctly. And I have a child at the door. Yes, I told you to ask Daddy for things. Not here. Yes, he is. He's downstairs. Yes, just go get one. And we're back. Okay. So, anyways, would you like to add anything else to that, Casey?
I would only add that this is also the first time I have sought out a gig, not only focused on human design as its topic, but going into it knowing that whoever I ended up working with would have a full universal knowledge of human design. And that was very enlightening for me on my end as well. And we can get into the specifics of that. But since this was the first time for both of us really putting that front and center. I think it was illuminating for everything.
I don't even know if I knew that you were looking specifically to work with human design experts.
Honestly, I wasn't.
But it was like a fun idea in your head.
It was a fun idea. I had just joined the community and saw your post maybe 2 months or so into joining the community and hadn't even considered bringing that into my professional repertoire, even though it had been such a personal interest for a long time. And I thought, why not? 3 line, let's go for it.
Why not? Abso-freaking-lutely. So really, I mean, a lot of this when it comes to hiring and all the energetics that go with that, that's stuff that we're going to be focusing on if you want to in the Human Design Mastermind that is currently open. So this is a great conversation for someone who has built the foundation and is now ready to start looking for help because you're finding things that you're doing are like really not aligned with your energy. They feel sticky and icky, all those things. So me, as a 4/6 Manny Gen, this is what I wrote in who I was looking for. And I knew I was looking for a unicorn. I literally was like, I'm looking to fill a position within my company, contracted, not employed. And as this is my third time hiring, I now know the unicorn I'm looking for. My podcast editor made the decision to leave podcasting, so I need to fill her role, but I'm also in desperate need of a second assistant, so I'm hiring for a combo of the two. I said that I'm a human design coach and speaker. You can find my bio here. And with my last editor not being HD informed, it was a challenge for her on the copy side of things. So I really wanted someone who understood my language, which isn't may not be important for everyone's industry, but this was definitely one of those times. It's kind of important. So I said, I'm looking for someone who knows the basics of human design, but doesn't need to be an expert, has podcast editing experience and likes it, has good copywriting skills, wants to grow with my company, offering support, ideas, and solutions. I love having interactive, involved team members. And then I said the other admin tasks I desperately need help with are things like email reminders to my community for events, communication with clients and students and others as needed, help putting reading reports together through the human design system I have, helping to learn to navigate new tech and systems because I'm a 4/6. I have no energy for any of that back end shit. And then any additional tasks to keep the back end running smoothly. And then I said, I want someone who loves the systems and stuff that feels mundane to me. And I'm so glad that I wrote that because most people are like, doesn't fucking everyone think this shit is awful to do? That is so not the case. So not the case. So I put that
No.
out there.
Systems. I should get systems tattooed on me somewhere.
It's like orgasmic to you. And to me,
It
I'm like,
is.
oh.
And I'm so glad you found that because now reading it back, I can see your 4/6 coming through so strongly in it. And for me, fours, I'm like, I don't know how you just build these people around you. And you do it so magically. And I can also feel your six being like, I just want to be up here.
Yep,
And you can be down here with your 5 line putting all the systems together for me, and it's fine.
for sure. I'm like, I see the vision. Help me execute it.
Yes, and I'm like, I'm your worker bee. I'm Goldbug or whoever in the Richard Scarry books zooming around and putting it all together.
I love it. So, not anywhere in that post did I discriminate by saying, like, I'm looking for a line five or I'm looking for a projector because I actually thought who I was looking for would be a projector. But the more that I was in this, I had a lot of applications right off the bat. I want to say like seven or something like that came in quick. Every single fucking applicant had a line five. Every single one. So that's how you can tell these bitches love systems.
This is everything to me. Bitches do love systems.
That was awesome.
Fun
Yeah.
fact, I used to own the URL Bitches Love Recipes and I gave it away because I don't care anymore. But
Oh
now
my
I want
God.
Bitches Love Systems.
I love, oh, that is a fantastic wait. Is that taken? Because
I
that
hope
would be
it's not
so
because I
good.
want it.
That would be
But
so good.
side note, I'll do that after this.
I love it. Yes. Okay. So I have so much more I could say, but I'm going to stop here and see if there's anything coming up for you that you want to add or ask me.
I would say, so you just went in there blindly, not asking for something, but did you sort of have a sense in mind that if you saw the line fives, was that something you were going to sort of gravitate more toward just knowing human design so well? Or were you just going to see how we all vibed when we chatted together and then try to put those sort of preconceptions for type, profile, any specific gates? Because you did ask me for my full chart too,
I did.
whenever you put it all out there.
Yeah. So I'd say yes, and the vibe is super fucking important to me, obviously, because I want this person wanted, hi, you're here, to make it sound like you're not even existing, to grow with me and be like my right hand woman. So the vibe was super important. I didn't really want someone who was just going to do their thing in the background and there was really no input or communication. I'm still new to being a leader, managing a team. So I think probably said to you right off the bat, like I need you to also teach me how to lead and how to manage and all of that. So it's a co-creation in all the sense. Um, I did specifically look for the line fives. I was open. However, see, this is where it gets like discriminatory, but I don't want it to be. But there is a certain magic that line fives have with systems, and I've seen it firsthand compared to someone who has learned through having to go to school because they thought that'd be their career. There's a certain essence behind someone who can innately love to do that versus someone who has learned. You don't have to be a line five to love systems. I did look at like logic, circuitry, and the way that you can think. So any like head or ajna definition, because I have none. So I really wanted someone who could like turn on certain things that I don't have to help conceptualize my big ideas to bring them into form. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And I don't think it's excuse me. I don't think it's discriminatory necessarily because if you are looking for any position and you're looking at client CVs, resumes, things like that, there are going to be certain
True.
skill sets that jump out at you as potential fits regardless of the industry. And you're just looking through the lens of human design. If I was applying for, say, a graphic design job, but I had zero knowledge of the Adobe Creative Suite or something like that, that would be something on a resume that someone would note regardless.
That's so true. Thank you for that. Yeah, I tend to be on the like, I'm so scared I'm gonna hurt people's feelings. Line four kind of side. So yes, thank you for that.
So I do think it's important to consider you don't have to know someone's complete human design, I think, when hiring, but when you are looking for people who will vibe well with you, it's okay to pull out things that might be a good fit for the position, regardless. If you are looking for someone who needs to do a lot of research, maybe a line one is your jam right there, that kind of thing.
Truth. And I thought I was looking for a projector. And the reason for that was because what I thought I needed was someone who could come into my big chaotic mess of everything and fix the problems. But I had generators, mani-gens, and manifestors apply, no projectors. And as I was talking to one of my friends about this, who is an online business manager, and she's a mani-gen, she reminded me that like if I'm looking for someone who has a lot of energy to like add more hours in over time and like really help be my right hand woman, she was like it really might not be a projector. And I was like, "Oh, that's such a good point because then in the near future I'd be looking probably to hire another person in addition to that person." So, I was really glad that I opened up beyond the idea of a projector too.
No shade to projectors. My husband is a projector. My best friend is a projector. My sibling is a projector. They're all wonderful.
And I probably wanted someone who had a lot more go, go, go
Yes.
than a projector would want to give. So, and I mean, really, like I really wanted someone who had like the fire in the belly for the stuff that I was doing. So ultimately, if I still had a projector who was like, I want to do all this and felt good, absolutely. That wasn't something that I was cutting off at that point. But really just in general, I like, of course, at first I was a little hesitant because I was like, okay, well, I've still made two hiring decisions in the past that were not very good. And this could still not work out. But a few months in, I was like, you were basically doing everything by yourself. And I was like, well, that was probably a month in. And I was like, well, this is working out. I'm glad I hired by design.
Well, also, I remember that you did take time to go through your emotional wave and make a decision. We had great conversations. I can't remember all of our back and forths over email or how we did it, but I do remember you saying, I need to sit with this for a while and really come to what feels good for me. So I think that you did take the time to work through your sort of hesitancy over making decisions in the past that maybe weren't made with your authority.
I did, for sure. Yeah. And now that you're bringing that up, I'm really what I love even more about understanding these energies, not just for myself, but for you, is I know how to talk to you when it comes to decisions. Like recently, when I was asking you about adding on more hours, I was like, I mean, you said yes right away, but I was like, why don't you sit with it? Because you're emotional authority too. And you're like, yeah, no, my answer's yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. But it helps me to know how to communicate and how to work with you instead of just being like, hey, I need you to do this thing or answer this on the spot. So there's like so many different ways that this comes into play with any working relationship.
I agree. And I think this is obviously, again, the first time that I'm working with someone who truly knows my full human design and what that means, not just me sort of trying to explain to them
Mhm.
what that means on superficial terms. So I know that you know when I say I've got to do this line three experiment, or I can't even think. That's just what I said to you today.
Yeah, yeah, you just said it today.
That you'll know
Um,
what I'm talking about,
yes.
or you'll know when I am ready to go on a new project.
Yeah. And I will say, once I was thinking about hiring someone with a line three, I was actually really excited about that. I don't think I've told you this because I think that you keep me in the energy of play. Well, let's tweak this. Let's play with this. And that's so, so important for any business owner because we can just get stuck in the numbers or like what's not working instead of being like, oh, well, how do we just like play and see what can we pull from this experiment? So it's one, me obviously not pushing you to get to a result because I know that you need to just try shit and see what works. And two, you always remind me, well, let's just try it. Let's just experiment with it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Fuck it. Let's just play.
Nothing is set in stone.
Yeah.
And I do think you would get there on your own with a few things. I think where we are playing more is again in the systems realm and trying to make things more efficient in the back end so you can do what you do best, which is connecting with people and not getting caught up in the how of how to do it.
Mhm.
But I do like to see what might happen and all the fun, unexpected, spontaneous things that could come from it.
You just actually gave me a beautiful segue into the thing I wanted to talk about next, which is why strategy as a business owner alone isn't enough. Sure, I could have strategized how to systematize my back end, how to navigate managing everything I now have to keep up with. Now that I've built this business for a few years, there's a lot of shit going on in the background that has to continuously go and run. And I could try to make that work. I could try and strategize how to do that and move forward in my business. But the reality is that would burn me out. It's really exhausting. And that's not where my energy is serving people. Whereas when you step in and I literally wasn't even in Notion, I was in ClickUp and you were like, it would really turn me on if I got to just like build you out a Notion template. I mean, she didn't really say that, but that's
Oh,
how I
I
felt
might
it.
have actually said that.
And I was like so frustrated with the current setup that I had. And I think I probably told you right from the get-go that we needed a new system, not a new system, but I wanted to understand how to better utilize the system I have because there's too many working parts. Um, and so when you come in and you get excited about doing that, first of all, you do it faster because it just comes naturally to you. And second, the energy behind everything you're putting together is done with love and not frustration. It's done with play and excitement and not like, oh my God, I hate this part of my business. And that energy leaks into everything. And then I just get to be with my people and focus on that for the majority of my business.
Yes. And of course, because I listen to every single podcast that gets put out, so I have a lot of time to really be in your head and think about all these things. What you've been saying recently about frameworks that have worked for others and expecting that just because someone else did it right, that it will work for you too. And how much bullshit that is in, again, whatever industry you're in, because there is no one blueprint, and maybe Notion is not the right template for someone to work through in their business. And I'm not saying that everything I do is the solution, but I do like to try because I have tried so many so many systems, so many frameworks for my own work and my own projects, and fail again, fail better.
Hmm. You know,
Always
it's
come
so
out with
interesting
something
because
new.
I feel like I don't know if you fail a lot on the things you try to do in our back end and I just don't know it, or if you're just like hitting it on the head almost every time. Because I feel like everything you've experimented with has just kind of worked.
Well, again, I think that I've been running my own little tiny one-person empire here since 2010. So I've had a lot of time on the internet to play with things that work and obsess over metrics for success on a number of levels. And it burned me out a lot of the time to try to do a lot of these things and figure it out on my own. So it's been really nice to take all of this knowledge I have built over the years and apply it to something that I feel a little bit less stressed
Because it's
over
not yours, yeah.
doing because I can do it in support of you. And again, I'm not the only person on this team. I am part of a team, and that makes me feel good to be part of something.
I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Um, One of the questions I have for you is how do you think your type and or profile plays into the way that we communicate or move projects forward? I know we've danced around it, but like if we could help someone conceptualize what it could look like to help for them to hire by design in their business, maybe adding more here could be helpful.
Yeah, I think, well, again, we're both manifesting generators and we both have emotional authority. So I don't think you necessarily need to only hire for your like type because there is a lot of good push and pull and play that comes from different energy types working together. Again, I work amazingly with my best friend. We collaborate on a lot of things, and she is an emotional projector. So very different, very two sides of the coin type of thing. But for us to be manifesting generators and to really be able to pivot and grow and again, try different things and see what sticks and what doesn't is kind of nice because that agility, I think, works well in a lot of small business situations where you can experiment with things. I'm just going to use that word a million times. Experiment in systems. I'm just going to be tattooed all over with
Bitches love systems.
bitches love experimental systems. And, not just with social media and algorithms constantly changing, but, you are one person. You are allowed to change what you do. And you have come out with a number of really amazing programs and communities and workshops, and you try a lot of different things to see what's out there. So I think to be able to have someone who can roll with your ideas and understand them and follow through on them quickly is a bonus for you. Not to toot my own horn, but I am tooting my own horn on this.
Toot toot, motherfuckers.
Toot toot, motherfucker. I
So
watched a
funny.
lot of RuPaul's Drag Race, and this whole past season, she was like, beep, beep, it's Susie Toot.
Oh my God. I've never actually watched that, but you know what? I think I want to.
My favorite show. We'll talk.
We'll talk about it. Yes. Okay. I have more that I want to say on the energetics of hiring in general. But before we get there, you also came with some questions you wanted to dive into.
Oh, I think we answered them
We might
already.
have a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about if there were any. Oh, you didn't talk if there were any deal breakers in the charts, but we kind of
Mm.
talked about whether or not that was discriminatory or not, and I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest, a deal breaker may have been if they didn't have a dominant line five.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it would have been if I had had an open ajna and head too, because as you know, my ajna is kicking all the time with the 1762 channel,
It is kicking.
which I love.
I wouldn't have called that a deal breaker, but I would have liked to see at least some activity going on up there. It makes it sound like I have nothing in my brain, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I do think that these are things to think about, to consider, because if you want someone who can build you systems and who can really conceptualize your ideas and bring them into form. That is interesting. I also have a very defined throat, and to be able to, I don't know if that would actually have helped or hindered you because an open throat can really be a chameleon in terms of copy. One of my other friends is a generator with an open throat, and she's worked in PR. This, like, I left PR, she's still going in PR. She is a lifer in PR, probably. And she has a totally open throat.
I
So
actually love that for what she's
she
doing.
can talk in the voice of whatever
Yeah.
client comes her way, which
Mhm.
could be a boon professionally. So maybe
I could
that's
see
not a
that.
deal breaker.
Yeah, no. I think I asked you for a copy example before hiring, and you already wrote, I feel like, in a similar way to me. So I didn't even think about the throat center when it came to that. That I was literally looking at like the tangible, like send me a piece of copy and let's see how she writes. Now,
Can she
granted,
spell correctly?
yeah, right. It's her grammar because I'm such a grammar police whore. But you obviously we don't talk exactly the same. Like I say boo and beauty and all that shit, and I don't
I
think you
have been putting beauty, beautiful friend.
talk that.
I I take note of what you write and filter it into
Exactly.
your copy.
Yeah, but like the majority of how you already wrote was very like even the
Yeah.
way you used hyphens or semicolons or colons, like it was all very similar. So I think that was an easy, natural,
Short paragraphs to help people
yeah.
filter it for
Yep,
themselves.
not
Yeah.
overwhelm. Yep, for sure. And then your other one had to do with our caves environment, right?
Yes, my other one was, do we feel safe working together? Because we are both selective caves.
My friend
I'm
Crystal,
just obsessed with caves,
yeah,
that's
I
all.
know, right? Y'all have heard Crystal because she's our variables expert. And she might have said this on the episode, I don't remember, but she was like, I could feel your cave's environment when we first met. She was saying that to me because she was like, I could feel you like sussing me up and down to see if you'd like let me in. And I don't even know that I do that, but it's so, so true. And you and I probably did that, but maybe there was a resonance already there. I honestly can't remember. I know that I felt pretty safe with you from the get-go. And it was pretty quickly, pretty early on, I felt totally safe and being like, this is a shit show. I don't know what to do. Help me.
I'm just personally obsessed with being a caves person. So I like to pull that out every time I remember that you are also a caves person. But I do think there could have been a resonance on a number of levels. I
Yeah.
don't think that you have to hire based on environment, really.
Hmm. I would
Unless, again, maybe you want a kitchens person who can pull everything together. It could go so many ways. There are so many parts of the chart that could be that magical element that makes it work.
yeah. And that's a good point. My intuition was telling me look for line five, but that might not be everyone's answer for their type of system. So that's a good point. Like listen to what you're feeling called to look for in someone's energy. Okay. Um, Something else I wanted to touch on was hiring in general and the energetics of that. We kind of touched on this earlier with the energetic leakage that can happen if you are just like forcing yourself to do these things and you're not hiring because of money and all of this stuff. But when I hired you, you took so much off my plate within just a few months that I was able to really be with my people more. I was able to like put more in with my clients, put more in with my community, and then like go out and network. And because line four, love to network. I know you're like cringing at that. You're like,
I
oh.
am. I really am.
But I was able to just really be in it to do my job. And that's what we start a business for, right? Is to be able to just do what we love. So not that everything is all on you right now. There's still some things that eventually we'll work into and I'll be able to get off my plate. But if we're not hiring and we're just struggling with like the workload and all the back end, either the back end suffers and you have no systems and you have to like literally go manually add people to shit when they buy something, which just sounds fucking exhausting. Or you're really not giving your gold energy to your people. And I just think this was one of the first hiring choices that I made out of like true trust and inner authority, even though I was going to be paying you at some point the most I'd ever paid someone. And I was still like, oh, but the energy of being able to get all of this off my plate was so much worth it. And it is so, so paid off. It just reflects how safe I feel in my receiving of money, my receiving of support. Actually, it's a good question for you. How do you feel I've been doing in receiving support?
I think amazingly.
Okay.
Again, I feel like we are good colleagues. I feel like we can both be honest with each other when we're not around physically. You need to go on trips. I need to go on
Mm.
trips. That's just part of our needs of life. And we never feel like we're leaving each other in the lurch, I hope.
No, no. I didn't even think about that. No, I don't think I've never felt that way. No. Um, is there anything that, because you've been doing this kind of work for other people for a while now, is there anything that you would want to say on hiring, the energy of hiring from fear versus trust and surrender into letting someone do their job? Like, is there any words of wisdom that you would give to someone in their hiring process?
I think it does come back to making decisions out of fear and out of external expectations on what you should be looking for in an assistant, in a colleague, whoever you're working with, even taking on a client on your own. Are you doing this out of fear or desperation that you have to make a specific money goal this month for a client, for example? And or whether or not this is resonating with you and coming through in your body and your authority as the correct decision in the moment. Because I think we've been on all sides of that, whether the person wanting to be hired, the person that you're looking to work with on a project perspective, and you know pretty quickly when this is not a good fit in a business relationship. And so hiring should be no different. Does
Ooh,
that
that was,
make sense?
yeah, that was like a mic drop moment at the end. Because it's like it's so straightforward, but it doesn't feel it when you're hiring for the first time.
It's weird
Um,
to kind of step into your power
mhm.
and really be on the leadership side of things, which even though we are all running our own businesses, running our own lives in so many ways, it's hard to put yourself on top of that throne. I have an emperor card up on my board behind me all the time to remind myself that I am the emperor. I'm stepping into this position and that's okay to be.
I love that. I
I
fucking
should
love
show it
that.
to you, honestly.
Yeah,
I know that
seriously. I
people
didn't
on the
know.
podcast won't see it. Oh no, it fell. Oh
Oh,
no.
the emperor has fallen.
It's a really large, chunky black and white cat as an emperor.
I love it. I love what you're saying too, because just like we touched on earlier, like I'm still learning how to be a team leader. But I also like yes, I'm the leader, I guess, of this tribe, but I also really want everyone to like come with me. And one of my friends, the one who just ran the conference that I was at in Virginia, she always talks about how she doesn't believe in self-made millionaires. And the first time I heard her say that, I was like, what do you mean? She was like, everyone had help. You either read a book, you listened to a fucking podcast, you hired VAs, you had help somewhere. And I was like, that is such a solid point. It doesn't matter to like, I could be making like seven figures right now, and I would not claim that I'm a self-made millionaire because that's not true. There's you and Ella in the background. There's all the mentors I've had over the years, all the fucking books I've read, like so many. We're just all leaders in our own way. You're the leader of
Yes.
the systems and shit.
And it's not leadership in terms of big bad bitch boss, unless that's really who you want to be in life. But it's really leadership, and being the emperor is really about being the person who puts it out there. And again, Manny Gens, our auras are big.
Mhm.
People want to come along on our ride. And I think that that's what it is people want to join you for whatever it is you're putting out, and you're there to light that path.
Mm. Damn, you just coming in with the mic drop moments everywhere. You should be on the front lines of video and like all this shit more often.
Whatever you need, I'm here.
I love it. And this is all stuff like scaling a business or growing a business, not everyone resonates with scaling, but growing a business, it's going to take more than you if you want to do it anytime fucking soon. And so these are things that we have to think about as we are a business owner, as we're growing, as we're looking to expand into receiving more clients, more income, more whatever. So all of this is stuff that we're working on within the mastermind if you are at the point that you're ready to hire, because it can be scary, but I've made those mistakes and I am here to now teach you about exactly what you can do, what to look for, and how to move through the fear and hire out of love and excitement and play. One tip I would leave for anyone looking to hire, the first thing that I did when I realized I just needed to just hire someone new was I brain dumped all the shit I didn't want to do. And it was so much stuff. But then I prioritized like the podcast was the biggest because that's the biggest time consumer. I mean, it takes you
Oh yeah.
hours every week, if not like every month. So I brain dumped it all and then I prioritized and then I figured out what kind of person would love doing this shit. And then I was like, oh my God, a line five would. Even better with a line three. Let's play. Oh, is there anything you would add there for someone who's looking to start?
Yeah, definitely brain dumping what would feel energetically awesome to not have to wake up and do every day. And maybe some of those things in the end don't have to be done necessarily at all, but you won't know that until you can start taking enough off your plate that you can see a clearer picture because we do get so bogged down by every single incremental task of the day. And the minute that you can offload some of that, you kind of see what is essential and what's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe something that you want to bring in entirely that you never even considered until you had the support in place to do it.
hmm I still have like a running list of things. I think you know this because every now and then I'll be like, Casey, we're going to add this at some point. Running list of things that I find myself doing that are really just not where I need to be spending my time. And so I just keep those going for the time when we're able to add on more hours. And I feel like, as I'm saying this, I feel like you are probably at some point going to be like an online business manager in general. Do you feel that?
I do feel like my dream right now, which again, I don't make goals anymore. I don't set myself with big expectations to hit because A, the past 5 years have been insane, and B, I know that I feel better about myself when I can just sort of go with the flow and lead without expectations. Again, emotional waves of expectations are terrible for me.
Mhm.
But tangent. I do I do love creating systems for others and really letting people unlock what they're meant to be doing and their creativity through systems. So yes, that is something I would love to help more people with down the line because it only took me over the past year to really understand that that is one of my zones of genius and you helped me do that. So thank you.
Oh, oh, that's one of my favorite things that tends to come up is like my need for something ends up unlocking something in someone else. And I'm just like, it blows my mind how we are making the world go round just by following the things that we want or need help with.
Well, my motivation is need, and I only recently really comprehended that it's not what I need, it's what the world needs.
Yeah. And mine is desire. So I love that for us. I
There you go.
love it. Okay. Is there anything else that you feel like someone needs to hear that we didn't touch on?
Oh gosh, I feel like we covered so much in such a
Yeah,
short span of time.
that was good.
Yeah. I just, I do think that everyone needs to hire with a knowledge of human design now.
All
Even,
my
and if
clients do now.
yes, and if you're part of the mastermind and you are still learning about yourself through human design, that's a great place to start because the more you understand what you need, what you desire, even if you don't understand variables yet, if you understand how you are wired and
Mhm,
what's going to light you up, then you can make decisions from that place that will serve you better in life, in business, in the holistic sphere of things.
mhm. Preach. Yes.
So even if
And
you don't have a business yet,
yeah, oh, truth. Yes, exactly. Um, I'm trying to think if there's any last bits, but I feel like that feels pretty complete. We gave them something to start figuring out with the brain dump and all of that and prioritizing. So that's a great first step. And Casey is a Notion expert. So if you don't want to hire, but you want someone to put like a whole Notion, you know what? For someone who doesn't even know what the fuck Notion is, can you just give like a quick rundown? Because we're talking to
You
people
know,
who are probably newer entrepreneurs who have no
yes,
clue.
burying the lead here at the end of the podcast. Notion is an app that I like to say it's as if your notes app on your phone plus Asana plus Trello had a unicorn baby. And the only bad thing about it is no unicorns actually jump out at you like they do in Asana. But I
Bummer.
feel like Notion's working on that. It pulls together notes and databases and all the information that you should brain dump out of your head and puts it into an app so you can reference it anytime you need it. And I literally have a brain dump database in mine. Everyone should.
Yes. Yeah. I have mine in ClickUp. I never moved it over, so I should probably do that.
I will create you one.
Look at Casey's face. If you guys are watching on YouTube, she just gave me the most disappointed look. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm trying to move all your information into Notion slowly but surely, and I will get there. I
So
just
if
want you to have it so you don't have to think about it
I
anymore.
know, I know. You're so good. You're so good to me.
This is my
You
goal.
have a Notion affiliate link, right?
I do. They're shutting down their affiliate program, though.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Well, when?
I
Okay.
don't know.
We'll still link it in the show notes just
We'll
in
link it. I'll link everything in the show
Yeah,
notes.
there you go. So
I
if you're
will link
not
my
ready to
own info.
hire, yes, including Casey's info, because she does not just work with me, she works with other people as well. So you can pick and choose if you would like a Casey or if you just want help with Notion or you just want to download Notion and get started on it and put it together yourself. Whatever. You go, you line fives. I would not want to do that. It sounds like peeling off my own skin and eating it. Okay. So, Casey's info will be in the show notes below. I hope this was really helpful for any business owners or any moms at home who need some fucking help around the house. Like house managers exist too. Casey has Notion for her entire household and like how she runs her household. So, you could still ask her for help with that, even if you're not a business owner. So,
Absolutely. This is not a commercial for Notion. This is just a place for you to think about the support you need in your life because we should not all be doing it alone, even though certain people think they can do it alone.
yeah, because that's what we were told. Yes, agreed. All right. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so glad we did this. This was a lot of fun, and I learned new things that I didn't know. So, thank you, Casey, for being here and for providing this community with energy of hiring
You are so welcome. I will see you very soon.
very soon. Bye.